Hey, if you feel like your marriage has been put to the bottom of the priority list, and if you desire deep in your heart to have a marriage that feels fulfilling, amazing, and alive, this video is for you. My name is Lisa. I'm a speaker, author, and coach, and mom to now 8 gorgeous kiddos. Baby Colleen is right here. We'll see how long she stays cooperative in what is that on my face? Oh my word. Okay, there we go. Life with a newborn attached to you. Sometimes makeup looks amateur. Anyway, um, Valentine's Day is coming. And so I thought it would be kind of fun to talk a little bit about um, how to make marriage great again. If you liked my title, let me know in the comments because I thought that was my husband came up with that title, so I can't really take credit. But I thought it was a really fun play on a very popular phrase right now. So make marriage great again. And here's the thing about marriage, and let me know in the comments if you agree and if you feel the same, and let me know how many years you've been married. Um, I think marriage is one of those things that can so easily be pushed to the bottom of the priority list. And so I think it's important that we talk about it and that we remain intentional about it. And I love competition and I love challenge. So I thought that I would create a little bit of a challenge around investing and being intentional in marriage. And so that's what we're going to unpack today. I'm pretty gosh darn excited. So stay tuned to the end to see how you can participate in a challenge that will 100% up level your marriage. Make it one that feels much more connected, one where you feel very deeply understood. Stay tuned to the end of this video to learn how you can participate in that. But first, I want to hear about you. Tell me in the comments how you met your spouse. Tell me in the comments how long you've been married. And tell me what you loved most about them when you first got married. This is my husband. We'll go like this. We were so young. Oh my goodness. This is in Toronto, where we're from, outside of the reception hall, which it was called the Capitol Event Theater. It was an old movie theater that they transformed into an event space. It was so much fun. I'm sure I've got a video I can link about our wedding, as well as a fun anniversary party we had when we were celebrating our 10th year. So I'll link that for you guys in the cards. But this was young. I was 23 years old in this photo. We were so young. My husband was 27. And the thing that I loved most about him when we first got married was I think how funny he was. Like, he still is funny. But I think it was his humor and his charm and his playfulness, I think is maybe the best word, is what really attracted what I really found attractive about my spouse. So tell me, what was your favorite thing to do, or what was your favorite thing about your spouse when you got married? And I'd love for you to also share, what was your favorite thing to do on a date? Like, think about this, especially if you've been married for a long time, and especially if you have young children. I think date night can be one of the most overlooked activities. Getting out of the house, just having some devoted time for just you and your partner. So tell me in the comments, what was your favorite activity to do when you were just dating? I think one of my favorite activities when we were dating, this is now 12 years ago. Oh my word. How is my husband 40, and how have we been married for 12 years? And how do I have 8 children? No, I can answer that question. I know exactly how we have 8 children, but I still can't believe that we've been married this long. One of my favorite things when we were dating was definitely anything that involved like adventure. So learning a new skill, going rock climbing, exploring, a new to us beach. We had so much adventure on our honeymoon. We honeymooned in Costa Rica, and we did things like sleep in the rainforest with a guide who had a machete. And I remember when I asked what the machete was for, he was like, "It's for the snakes." It's like, that's just okay. So here's the thing: when we become parents, oh boy, my own personal experience was that it just became increasingly difficult to juggle my many competing priorities. And, when you have a newborn, like the season I'm in right now with Colleen, you're both exhausted. You're both getting up in the middle of the night. You're both interrupted. Your sleep is interrupted. You can be edgier. You can be moodier. And it's just a physically exhausting time. When you have toddlers or children who go to school, you're running. Like your toddlers, like I just saw this thing on Facebook, like toddlers, 90% of the time, they are you're stopping them from trying to kill themselves. And then 10% of the time, they're mad at you for stopping them or something like that. Anyway, my point is that being a parent of toddlers is like very exhausting. And then once they get into school, you've got like activities and you've got like identity things. And then once they become teens, I've heard this expression, bigger kids, bigger problems, right? So I just feel like marriage can become one of those things that is sort of like the forgotten about relationship. Let me know in the comments if this resonates with you. It's interesting because, like, when you think about it, you spend a lot of time wooing your partner. I don't know about you, but this was my experience. Like, there was a lot of time um, invested in ensuring that I looked amazing for every single date. Like, I can't, oh my gosh, the intention I put into my outfits when I would go on a date with Josh when we were just dating and engaged, oh my word, was like next level intention. Because I really cared. I really cared. And not to say that I don't care now, but it was just different, right? There was a little bit more space and time to think about all those little details. And so I just think naturally in the reality of setting up shop, even as a house, learning how to be responsible adults and run a house, and then add work and then add all the other things, marriage can be like the easiest thing in a way to put to the bottom, because it can also be like, I see him every day, right? I hear this from many of the moms that I coach, that women can feel like, well, I see him every day anyways, so I don't really necessarily have to go on a date night. Or, you know what, like money's really tight and time is really tight and babysitting is expensive. Like, I see him every day anyways. And so I think that we can fall into this pattern, and let me know if this rings true for you in the comments. But then what I see time and time again is that this has a very dangerous, slippery slope cycle. So the more you invest in the kids, or the more you invest in your career, the more you invest in volunteering at the school, the more you invest in, getting a promotion, for example, at work or what have you. And sort of marriage becomes this like forgotten entity because maybe you see each other all the time, or you kind of just make excuses or what have you. The slippery slope becomes this area doesn't grow, or this area doesn't grow to the capacity that it could grow. You know what I mean? And I think there is a very big danger in thinking, well, I see him all the time. Just because you see somebody all the time doesn't necessarily mean that your relationship is growing to the potential that it could. And so I think this is just such an important discussion. And I think it's not for lack of trying, right? I don't think anybody goes into marriage like on the day they're getting married with this feeling of I want this to fail. Like, I really don't think that anybody is going into marriage with this feeling of I want it to fail. And so what we need to do, the same way that if you're trying to exercise more or eat healthier or start a business or write a book, none of these things happen by accident. We can do this. We can have amazing marriages with intention and with care and with strategy. You guys know how much I love this word strategy. Okay, so Elisa says, someone once told me that the thing that really drew you to your husband when dating ends up being the thing that frustrates you when married. That's cute. And then I loved how my husband was super curious, had lots of hobbies and interests, was laid back, and now it's easy for me to complain about those same things that originally attracted me to him. That's really interesting. And I think too, we obviously grow as people, and that's the whole point here. We are meant to grow. I'm reading Miracle Morning again right now by Hal Elrod. And he has this line that just has resonated with me so much. And it's something to the effect of, do you want a level 10 life? Do you want level 10 health? Do you want level 10 marriage? Like, And if not, why not? And so I think chances are, if you are here, um, either you found me through Instagram, or you're already in my Facebook group, or you already are on my channel and have subscribed. I know you care about this too. I know you care about having a level 10 life and having your marriage not just be good, but be great. So here's the thing, when we don't put intention into our marriage, what is the result? And all the women that I speak to and that I coach and the people that are in my Facebook group, this is what I hear as a bit of a recurring theme, that it can be easy then to feel misunderstood in marriage or to feel lonely in marriage. I remember a friend of mine who is a marriage coach. She and excellent. Her name is Susie, and she's excellent at communication. And I remember she shared something once about how so many women feel lonely in marriage. And when you think about it, it's kind of a weird, like how can you feel lonely in marriage when you're with somebody all the time, when you live together and all these things? But it really can, when you think about it, especially when you're not um, um, connecting on a personal level, it can be so easy to feel like, gosh, like I don't feel understood. Or, when he does blank, or when he says blank, or when he doesn't listen, or when he looks at his phone, da 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 da. It can contribute to this feeling of loneliness. Um, and when this continues, I think that we can then also start to feel like my needs don't matter. It's always going to be like this. There's no time for my personal goals and dreams. Um, I I wish it could be like this, like in the past. I just think there are many different things that can happen as a result of us not putting intention into our marriages. And why does this matter ultimately? Why does it matter that we have level 10 marriages, right? Why does it matter? For me, there's two big reasons for me. One big reason is because of what our children observe about love. I think the relationship that mom and dad have has such a lasting impact on everything for our kids, how their self-worth is informed, their view of reality, their view of security, how secure they feel, how they then express themselves and communicate love. What they observe has such lasting ramifications on their everything. And that's why I believe that it's like our duty, like literally our duty, to make our marriages as amazing as they can be. Now, I'll be very, very honest with you. I didn't always feel this way. So, a couple of things I just want to unpack. Number one, I kind of felt very arrogant at times, like, oh yeah, I've got a great marriage. Like, oh yeah, we go to church and we like, pray together and we like do all these things. We're like, what? No, we have a great marriage. But I was I was resentful, like internally I was resentful. There have been times in my marriage where I have felt lonely. There have been times when I was just a real not nice person to be around, like the nagging, bossiness, being overly critical. Like there were many, many times that I would say, my husband Josh would say, yeah, you weren't exactly that nice to be around. And I think it takes a lot of bravery and self-reflection and introspection to admit, like, okay, maybe it's not all him, and maybe it's sometimes me. Maybe the reason why I feel lonely or resentful could actually be because I'm not being as intentional or as courteous or as honest, or I'm not communicating in a way. Like, I think it's so easy in marriage to put the blame elsewhere rather than look internal. And I would say, and for us, mental illness has played a big part in this, and in a lot of the realizations is what I mean. I had to start, because mental illness plays a part in our marriage, and feel free to I've got many videos, which I can link for you, on our story with depression and anxiety in our marriage. I had to start to look inward quickly, because I realized that blaming wasn't going to get me anywhere because it didn't do anything. Like it really didn't help. Me blaming or being frustrated or being critical really didn't get me anywhere. But when I started to look inward, when I started to look at how am I contributing to some of the things that are causing conflict, how can I change either my behavior or my response to improve the way that we get along, to improve the way our house runs. And P.S., this takes a lot of vulnerability. Like, I'm not trying to, say this is easy and to have a level 10 marriage is a piece of cake. To make marriage great again is a piece of cake. This takes work. And it doesn't necessarily happen overnight. But it also doesn't have to take that long either. And I think that's really important. So, what I'd love to do now, by the way, this is like so much fun. I love talking about marriage because I think that it can also be something that we compare very easily. You can go on Instagram and somebody, is wishing like happy birthday or something to their spouse, or it's like Valentine's Day, whatever. And they're like, oh my gosh, like I love this person so much. They complete me. They make me want to be a better version of myself, da 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 da, whatever. And then it can feel pretty like, oh my gosh, like, why isn't our marriage like that? I think too that every marriage also is so different. And what works for one couple might not work for another couple. And what makes one couple feel really fulfilled and alive doesn't have to be the thing for someone else. And I had to really learn this, especially where mental illness is concerned, because of standards that I had. I had this ideal version of what life had to look like. And to be very honest with you, it wasn't the ideal for my family. I'm going to say that again because I do think it bears repeating. The ideal I had in my head was not the ideal for my family. And to be honest, this could be a whole other video. To be very honest with you, this notion of my ideal not being what's ideal for my family, because I do think that it can impact like how we view work and how we view the pursuit of our dreams, and what have you. The way what is ideal for your family could actually end up being like the best thing ever. But we have to get out of our own stubborn way of thinking. We have to be able to be docile and humble and be like, you know what? Like my ideal might not be what's ideal for my marriage, or my ideal might not be what's ideal for my family, and have the humility to be able to do that. So, all right. Back to what you loved about your spouse. And I would love to hear in the comments, like, Elisa, you're so cute. The things that you loved about your spouse are the things that frustrate you when married. And I can definitely see some of those aspects. But I'd love for you, with a brand new lens, like just think right now, just pause for 1 second and think about, like, what do you love about your spouse now? What do you love about the person that he has become? Over how many years you've been married. What is the thing with new eyes, with the lens and history of experience of being parents and building a life together? What is it that, if you were asked, like, that you love the most? And so for my husband, I would say his resilience and his tenacity, I would say, is what I love about him the most, especially in just the last little while and all the changes that we've had. I have witnessed my husband be incredibly brave, be brave when he hasn't wanted to be brave, and just deal with things, to be honest, deal with some challenging realities. And that is what I would say is what I love most about my husband today. Yeah, he's a good one. He's a keeper. Oh, and I also love how we've gotten to know each other so well over the years that he can now bring me out of myself or remind me of who I really am when I forget. That's another thing that I think is a true gift of time. Like, you witness and really learn to understand. A therapist I once met with described it like it's like you get a PhD in your spouse. Um, and I just think that's a beautiful, way to think of it. That we want to get to know deeply and intimately who our spouse is, so that we can love them in the best way possible and have, as Hal Elrod says, these level 10 marriages. And so, I'd like to ask you right now: do you want a level 10 marriage? Do you want a level 10 marriage that is just like fulfilling, where you feel understood, where you feel like um, valued, where you feel like um, uh, it is bright and full of hope? If this is what you want, um, I'd love for you to join me in this super fun challenge that I've got going on. And here's how the challenge is going to work. So, number one, watch this video. Feel free to watch it again to just sort of get you in the mindset of thinking about the importance of investing in your marriage. And then number two, join my Facebook group, and I'll put the link below. And in the link below also, I will put a worksheet that you can download for this challenge. And then number three, what I've decided to do with this challenge is to keep it very simple. But where everything begins is with us. Like I mentioned just a few minutes ago, it can be easy to be like, my marriage isn't great because of blank, and make it external. But what if we could focus on ourselves? Because really, when you think about it, that is all we have ultimate control over. We can't control what people do. We can't control what our spouses do. We can't control many things in life, but we can control how we react and how we respond. And so the challenge is going to be very simple. So after you have downloaded the worksheet and joined me in the Facebook group, step three is to take the love language assessment. So there is a beautiful tool that I talk about quite a bit. And it's the 5 love languages by Gary Chapman. And it's just, I think this is a very useful tool for mothers, because I think it's important to understand our own love language. I think it's important to understand the love language of our children. And of course, it's so important to understand the love language of our spouses. So your challenge is to then take the assessment, take it on yourself just so you can understand it. And then if you can get your spouse to take the assessment, have them take it so that you know exactly what their love language is. And let's just say they're not into it, they're not into personality tests, or they don't believe in them or anything like that. Because I know there are people out there who don't. Guess what theirs is based on taking it on yourself. Then the challenge is going to begin February 14th, Valentine's Day. And we're going to run daily accountability in my Facebook group, where you do something every single day that invests and speaks to their love language. So for example, I just took the quiz because I wanted to make sure that my love languages, I guess, were still the same. And my number one love language is words of affirmation. So I enjoy being praised. That's really what it is. I enjoy being encouraged. It's meaningful to me to hear when I've done a good job. And then my second one is acts of service. So for me, I find it very meaningful when my husband takes out the garbage, or does laundry, or does mails a bunch of books off for me without me even asking. That's what I find very meaningful. And so to guess or to have them take the quiz, and then do activities that every single day between February 14th and February 29th. And I would love to see everyone every single day be able to check the box. I give you a little checkbox area on the download so that you can keep track. And I'm very personally competitive with myself. I'm very motivated when I see, ooh, I'm making progress. Check, 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 check. So for those of you who are like me, please feel free to use that as a tactic on yourself to further your success. And so, for example, if your spouse has the love language of words of affirmation, every single day, multiple times a day, can you encourage them? If your partner has the love language of acts of service, can you do things like, for example, putting out their book and a glass of water before going to bed, or pouring them their favorite drink when they get home from work. It's very 1950s. I love it. It's very Dick Van Dyke. We're currently watching the Dick Van Dyke Show with my children, and they love it. It makes me so happy to watch something that's kind of wholesome and sort of corny, to be honest. If their love language is quality time, which is one of the love languages, like, can you ensure that you put your phone away and you are not, like, you are undistracted, like, every single day, and you, like, make sure that that is a priority. If their love language is physical touch, can you hug and kiss a little more? And can you, increase some other activities as well on a regular basis? And then the last one is escaping me, but the last one, do that too. So that's the challenge. So all you need to do to participate in the challenge is click on the link that I will put below this video. Join me in the Facebook group, take the assessment, and then February 14th to February 29th, let us see if we can run a streak of making marriage great again. Hashtag make marriage great again. I will be daily accountability in there, checking in to see what people have done, how it's going, if you have stumbling blocks on how to do it. And really, at the end of the day, I really believe that our marriages impact our home in such an important way. Peace in the home is what I think we all want, but sometimes we don't know how to articulate. Peace in our marriage, I think, leads to just greater satisfaction, happier, happier interactions, better communication, better ability to combat problems together. Like, I really don't believe that there is a negative impact from investing in our marriage. So that is that. Let me know if this excites you, if this is like a fun idea for you. Jen Metal says, I've been trying to get him to do the quiz for months. So excited to have another reason to encourage him to do it. That's amazing. And yeah, we're going to have so much fun. So I will put the link below, and I will see you in the Facebook group for our February Make Marriage Great Again challenge. Thanks for watching.